This is the Silt versus A God Must Feed Part 3. We have had a couple of weeks break, so we'll do a pretty good, nice recap here. Also, we don't have Amanda today, so we're going to say that Sedna is going off to the third assignment that's going to be introduced here in a little bit. And so let's talk about where we're at right now. So taking a look at the active assignments, that we have two active assignments. One you have started and made good progress on. That's the Hungering Roots. The other is brand new. You've just arrived in the town of Weft. I think because we've just arrived and we haven't done anything on it yet, I'm just going to go ahead and introduce it again for people who are watching and as well as for you. So the Custodians are informed of a series of disturbances near the rural town of Weft, located just on the border of the Clutching Woods. Reports of strange attacks on livestock and damage to power lines and vehicles have been documented. Hopworth Industries, a nearby meatpacking plant, claims that some kind of large predator has been raiding their compound at night. Law enforcement records show evidence of a stray angel making its haunt on the grounds of Skelton Ranch, though no conclusive action was taken, and local residents have not been forthcoming with previous investigators. The Skelton family, thought to have abandoned production on their farm years ago, is rumored to harbor an angel which has caused trouble for other residents in the past. According to locals, the Skelton family simply referred to the entity as Mother. It is unclear what their relationship is with the angel, but it has been known to haunt the woods around their property for several generations as part of some pact. Attempts to reach the Skeltons directly were unsuccessful, so the Custodians have been directed to contain or eliminate the angel before its territory encroaches on any nearby counties. And we had talked last time about what rumors of the Skelton family makes us suspect that this angel has dug its claws in too deep. And I actually didn't listen to that part of the video from last week. Does anybody remember what the answer was there? I don't recall.
I don't recall
Okay, well, we'll
either.
just
Yeah.
we'll hand wave it if it comes to it. Okay. You do have one question available here, which is where is the angel's nest located? It's a very simple question at complexity 2, and it allows you to unlock the remaining questions on the assignment. You have a third assignment because in this game, you can have up to 3. And so while you've just arrived in Weft, you're also made aware of a third assignment from your handlers that needs to be dealt with. We are going to call it the floating market. Fragments of black market divinities have been appearing among the goods sold at the so-called floating market, a free-for-all bazaar that gathers at abandoned docks and fishing piers along the White Gull River. While such gatherings generally happen under the radar of the local authorities, the Custodians have been informed that the goods arriving along the river present an increasing danger to the inland population. The Bureau report flatly states that the nature of the divinely affected wares being sold are not something that can be left to the Greater Glottage Police to handle alone, given a surge of recent corruption investigations. I'm going to direct the following to the custodian who has had the most run-ins with the authorities. Who do we suppose that is among the three of you?
I think it's Pele.
Is it Pele? Very well. Pele, why do you suspect that no one actually intends to shut down the floating market, but that several groups are vying for control of the market themselves?
Well, there's something to be said about river travel. I mean, river is one of the most efficient ways to move goods up and down to get them to where you need to go. It's also the best way to dispose of things that you don't need around. And somebody that's in control of a floating market controls a lot in the area.
A fair point. It sounds like it's spoken from a well of experience, Pele. You have one question here. Also a fairly simple question. What illegal product presents the most serious danger to the public? It's a complexity 2. It allows you to learn where to focus your investigation and then unlock the remaining questions. And so that is another thing going on. So you have 3 active assignments right now. The one in Weft, the one back at the warehouse east of Glottage, and this new one on the White Gull River.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
I think that's a really good way to frame a question. I know this is like kind of like we're like playing Silt versus for the first time. That's because I've been thinking about questions and opportunities a lot. And I just think that like learn where to focus the investigation, and then you unlock remaining questions. Is such a good way to to phrase that and frame that. So just kudos to whoever wrote the floating market.
Would be Gabriel.
Good stuff.
Thank you,
Good
Gabriel.
stuff.
Fabulous. Okay, great. You'll like to hear that. I do too. So you also have 2 conspiracy clues right now, which doesn't mean a lot in character yet, but out of character, we know that's our sort of timer for the bigger campaign. Our custodians are not in bad shape, to be honest. You had that journey phase right before this, so you're all looking pretty good on conditions as far as that goes. And Jasper, you have a good condition, and Jolly.
I do.
And Theo, you have tons of space for conditions, so everybody's okay on the conditions front. But we do have some things left unresolved from last time. Jasper, you still have to narrate your verse of the inevitable harvest, and I believe we also have some personal verses that are still out on the table as well. And you had also mentioned last time that you wanted to kick off in Weft with your move. And so why don't we start with the verses, though? Whoever wants to go first, please do.
Yes, I'd be more than happy to. I have to narrate the verse of the inevitable harvest, which is probably one of my favorite names for a verse I've seen. Yes, each custodian describes a hope or dream they have of someday living in abundance with all their needs met. Character choice: Jasper, all of his verses will be done as asides, like E.B. Farnham in Deadwood. It is a simple thing, and such a simple, hopeful thing to want to be content in your life. I mean, after all, who does not want to be content? There is an old saying I've heard from Galatage to all the other villages and hamlets and towns in our fair peninsula, that money does not buy happiness, faith brings you happiness. And while that may be entirely true to a degree, money buys one peace of mind, and peace of mind is, well, just as important as one's faith. The divinity plays a role just as much as we play a role in our own happiness, and I admit I've often found myself daydreaming, hoping, reminiscing on older days when life was fairer, and thinking how I can get there again. I often find myself wondering, a luxurious divan or some other lovely chair, piece of furnishing, lounging on it like some ancient warlord of old, as well-dressed attendants feed me things like cheese and grapes and all the greatest books in the realm, read to me by the foremost excellent performers, second only to myself, of course. And that peace of mind calls to me. One might say it is a deeper calling than the stage, but it's close. There will be nothing more important to me than the stage. But it would be nice, just a little, to have those needs always met.
Thank you, Jasper. That was a lot, and we love it. Who would like to go next?
I'll go next. For my mask, I chose a mask of the the verse of history. A flashback showing how you had no choice but to sign a contract as a custodian. I think as the van arrives in Weft, Pele pulls up on the motorbike with the sidecar beside it, turns it off, takes off the goggles, lets them rest, puts on their knit cap, and looks around and takes in the air. And then there's a hard cut, and it's nighttime. And you hear some crickets chirping. And you see cornrows moving in a slight breeze, and then you see some moving even faster, as if people are running through them. Then you see an explosion in the distance. and there's an orange kind of tinge to the right of the camera, and it pans over, and you can see that there are buildings on fire. There are grain silos that are being destroyed, pulled down by bulldozers. And you can hear rifle fire, like single action rifle fire happening. You see a couple of men in these like faded pink, almost like military, like canvas outfits with tactical belts and these bolt action rifles moving through the corn rows. Then there's a roar of a man or a person, a being leaping out, grabbing one and just throwing him off into the distance. The other one turns and fires, and we just see Pele pounce on him and hit him with a hammer once, twice, 4 times, and then look up and run back into the corn rows. The next day, there's smoke over the horizon, and you can see it's a little bit blurry, but there is a row of people all strapped down to planks of wood, leaned at an angle, and you can see there are men in pink canvas uniforms surrounding them. A truck pulls up, and on the side of it is the brand of the well-recognized Sweet Jolly Crunch Tooth, and out steps a woman wearing a duster, similar outfits. Then you can kind of focus and you see that those people that are strapped in planks have rags over their face, and there's milk being poured all over their face. Gasping, forgetting, choking up. And eventually when they choke up, somebody, and in like an auditor outfit, shakes their heads, and you just hear a single gunshot. Get to the end of the line, and you see Pele, eyes burning, looking directly up at the sun, the rag being removed, milk just spitting out of their mouth. The woman looks down at Pele and says, "Not that one. That one has quite a use for us." And that's where it ends.
Oh my god. If Jana and Mona don't include this in the show somewhere, it is a real missed opportunity.
Milk boarding is a missed
Milk
opportunity.
boarding is a
Milk
missed
boarding.
opportunity.
Yeah.
I am so concerned for Pele now.
I love it. These are great verses. Okay, are there any others before we go?
Nope. I
Nope.
did my last session.
Very good, very good. Okay, so then we're in Weft. I do want you to do that move, Jasper, but I actually want to check in briefly with Theo first, and then we'll swing back over to you. So last time we kind of described how this town is clearly falling apart, but there are a committed group of people who are doing their best to maintain it, right? We saw all that stuff. We also have some leads from the introduction of the mystery of the assignment. The skeleton family is probably your biggest lead, but there might also be some things to learn at this meatpacking plant, which is nearby, which has kind of been terrorized by this large predator. And there might be some things to learn in the town itself, as well as the surrounding woods. So lots of places to begin the investigation here. Theo, what do you think?
I definitely want to go around town, sort of asking about the skeletons before like heading towards like their ranch farm thing. I'm not quite sure what exactly they're doing out there, but they're out in the woods and whatnot.
Yeah, I like that. I think probably your best bet. I don't know if there are a lot of businesses necessarily around to go inquire within, though. We did mention an old man, kind of like repairing things with hammer and nail. He might be worth checking in with. He's there. So
yeah, he's there. So there's someone to talk to. So let's go talk to him.
Yeah, that sounds good. Let me see who that might be on my little list here. This man actually is wearing a camo jacket and overalls, and he has a gray ponytail, but is otherwise quite bald up top. And he's just finished fixing a little altar that is set outside for priests of the mail delivery god, whoever that might be, to go and leave offerings and receive offerings from offerings of mail. And he sees you and he says, "Oh, I saw you and your friends pull up in that van and that fine-looking motorcycle."
Yes, yes, we're just coming into town to check some things out. We sort of are a jack of all trades sort of people, helping out where we can.
And I assume it has nothing at all to do with the people who've been coming in recent weeks to help us with our little problem.
Oh, it might have to do with that.
Oh, it might have to do. Got it.
Right.
Well, I'm happy to tell you what I know, just like I told the last person. It ain't much, but... And then he kind of looks at you and says, "You probably want to get that looked at," talking about the burns on your arms.
It has been looked at. There's not much more that can be done about that.
Right. Okay. Are you all right? You seem a little I don't know.
I'm fine.
Okay. Just you seem like you need to sit down, perhaps. Maybe it's all the heat, the traveling. It's really
Yeah.
muggy out here.
Yeah. We've been on the road for a few hours, so yeah. Possibly I'm gonna need to sit down, and like I think Theo's just gonna like sit on like the curb of like the sidewalk.
Yeah. If something happens, you might want to go receive some kind of treatment. You could be concussed or worse.
I'm fairly certain that I'm not concussed or anything of that nature. I've
Well, why don't you go ahead and ask your questions then?
Yes. The skeletons.
Go straight to it, huh?
Yes. Well, it's better to be honest about what you're looking for rather than to try to beat around the bush.
Right. All right. Well, the skeletons. It's a good start.
Do they have any friends in town? Do they ever come into town, or anyone that they are close to?
Go ahead and make your meddling move with presence. I'm going to put you at disadvantage though because of your dazed condition. Although you're not affected. Yeah, it's true. You're not affected by it because of its physical. So.
I will say that specifically from last time that the burns of forearms in the shape of prayer marks of the Saint Electric do affect me. So
that's right. Yeah. They're not going to affect this situation though. I don't think so.
Okay. Yes. All right. What am I rolling with stat wise?
Oh, I think I said presence. Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, that is an 11.
Nice. Jasper, will what you have planned interfere with that scene, or?
I don't think so. In fact, it actually might be inspired by that scene.
Oh, very good.
Because I think in the background of that, when Jasper gets out of the van, and I imagine like is kind of like looking around, kind of sees in the distance that Theo is chatting with a local, and it seems to be a little terse, a little just kind of like there's a little bit of friction there, but it's not going poorly. But I think that it inspires the idea.
We should read the move.
We should. I'm about to. Yeah, I was just about to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have my starting move is all the world's a stage. You have the power to alter reality by performing as if you were reading a script aloud on a stage, so long as it pleases the watcher. When you deliver a theatrical monologue and narrate what you hope is about to happen in a scene, roll with presence. You may invite your fellow custodians to play along by contributing a single detail to the monologue. For each custodian who does so, you may add 1 to the roll. If you currently have the condition of disappointment, roll disadvantage. I don't. On a hit, some detail about the world from your performance is now true. Say what it is. The keeper will incorporate this new truth into the scene in whole or in part as they wish. And then there are some like different levels of things that will happen depending on the number I roll, one of which kills me.
Yeah. Okay.
Really, really badly.
All right. Well, only if you have a disappointment, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you get that? Is that just a thing? That can
If
happen?
I roll 7 to 9.
Oh, very good. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So if you keep doing
Yeah.
this move, got it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, you got to trigger it first. So what's happening here?
It's in the shot of the scene where Theo and this person were just interacting that we see Jasper climb on top of the van with a little bit of effort. And as he like gets on top of the van, he actually like, you know, brings his hand up rather dramatically to like look around and survey Weft from on high, which is, you know, 7 feet off the ground and really doesn't give him that much better of a vantage point. But he surveys, breathes deep of the wind that passes through here, smelling old brick dust and just kind of like rotting wood. And he says quite loudly, theatrically, one might say, just says, "Stories do not happen here. In Weft, stories are things from far away. After all, why would gods of grand tales, sagas, come to a rural place like Weft? Here, life is simple. Life is mundane and boring. The greater details of the world beyond happen far from our borders, far from these fields and farmlands. But stories have a way of seeping into even the most rural of locations. Indeed, even the most simple of people from Fair Weft have heard of the Bureau for the Investigation and Assimilation of Stray Deities. I mean, who in the peninsula has not, after all, with propaganda posters hailing us as heroes and reformed false faith worshippers proudly serving the communities? Who can refrain from speaking of these traveling, one might say, heroes, wondering if they'll ever come to Fair Weft? Well, worry not, people of Fair Weft. Your long-admired custodians have arrived to relieve you of your torment that you have so desperately longed to see eased from your shoulders." I will not go on because he could go on for hours, but the general vibe I'm going for here is that the people, the most of wider Weft will have been admirers of like the propaganda, you know, painted version of the custodians and be very forthcoming with wanting to like help us and like be assistive to us. Like we're local heroes almost.
Yeah, I like it.
I will happily invite Theo and Pele to contribute details to the monologue if they wish.
Indeed.
I just want to add that there's probably like a woman off to the side in a building standing next to an old dusty man. Man goes, "What's he on about?" Like, "Something about custodial duties. I don't know. Just been ranting for the past 30 minutes.
I love it.
I have nothing to add.
I love it.
Very
That sounds great. You get to add 1 to the roll. I will note that I'm changing that slightly whenever this
That's
goes
fine.
to final. I think +1 per character is too much, but I love it for you right now. So go ahead and roll with. Does it say what stat you have to roll with?
Presence.
Presence +1.
All right, and so +1. And then what does Jolly do again? Is like I get to like spend it, right?
Oh yeah, what does Jolly do? I think you can like burn it to make something
To
happen.
I can burn it to get advantage, and then I take empty as a condition. So actually, I think I'll do that because I really like the idea of Jasper being elated and overwhelmed from his
Mhm.
delicious breakfast that Pele gave him earlier, and just fueled his artistic talent. And then, of course, delivering a monologue on top of a van in the middle of fucking nowhere is going to make you feel a little empty inside.
You had
So
your
I will
Wheaties today.
I
Go
had my
ahead.
Wheaties. The
Yeah.
Wheaties fueled the craft. Okay. So, and
Should
then
be a good
plus,
result.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's okay, but it was a 10.
Okay, good. So it says on a hit, you get to name your detail as true. You've made the detail fairly clear.
Mhm.
On a
Yep.
10 plus, the watcher is entertained for now. If you had a disappointment, you would be able to clear it, but any custodians who participate in the scene may take the condition inspired. They can clear that at any time to get advantage on a roll. You also find a clue related to the current assignment. It's very powerful
Oh,
as
wow.
written. Yeah, I think dialing this move down a little bit for the final release. But for now, you can take advantage of it as written. Um, Pele, are you feeling inspired? You get to add a condition if you wish.
Absolutely. I think since the use of Jolly, and remember if you did use Jolly, you do have to mark empty
Mhm.
because you're no longer fed
That
of
is true.
Sweet Jolly Crunch
Yes.
2's nutritious breakfast. But I am feeling inspired, so Pele will definitely take inspired.
I don't know why I'm slightly tickled by the idea of just Pele with a fucking cigarette in his mouth after Jasper finishes. Just kind of gives like a.
I love the idea of this scene going like fully our town and like basically like I think it even like functions on a level that the Watcher in the Wings understands, right? So
Mhm.
we see like things being moved into place as if they were stage props like all around the town square, like things are being moved, posters are being rolled down, like they all fall down simultaneously. They show like basically like give thanks to the bureau, our saviors, the custodians, all that kind of stuff. And Theo, this man who introduces himself as, get his name real quick, Ridley Hemsworth, he says, "You're with the bureau?"
Yes.
Well, why didn't you say before? I'll let you know everything you need to know about the skeletons. And all you need to know, truly, is that they are, well, they don't come out very often. They pretty much stick to themselves, and that's the way they like it. And let me take a look at my clue list to give you an actual clue. He says, how much do you know about hunting?"
I know a little bit about hunting.
I was like, okay. Well, he says, "I know a lot about hunting, and I know that a good hunter pays attention to disturbances and changes in the environment in order to help find their prey. I know you're here looking for this large predator that's been a problem as of late. And, well, you might start looking in the clutching woods. I saw some trees out there. They have deep gouges, claw marks. Normally, the territorial sign of a large predator. That's your clue. He says, "I'm actually going out there in about an hour. I've got a little deer stand out there. If you want to join me, you're welcome to come."
Oh, that would be nice.
All right, then. And this is when he introduces himself. And do you tell him your name as well?
Yes, I'm Theo Solomon.
Oh, very good, very good. And he kind of like he says, "All right." And as he shakes your hand, there's actually like the sun actually casts a warm, bright glow on you that looks like a spotlight. And then it fades away, and that spotlight now kind of appears back over the van where Jasper and co are. Jasper, Pele, there are now people in the windows of the shops, like waving at you. Hello, hello, that kind of thing. What do you both do?
Quick question. Do I also take inspired, or is that just for the participating custodians?
I think I read it as just the ones that like
Okay.
chose to help out. Yeah.
Fine by me.
Mhm.
I feel like Jasper is mostly just sitting on top of the van, like waving back, smiling, doing little like, little, like at least like half bows. So I'll let Pele have the moment because Jasper's preoccupied.
Pele's gonna like smile and wave and like even bend down and like hand out like spoons to like people and everything like that. Is gonna stand up and lean
Pele
over.
kisses a baby.
Yeah. And
I
then
think
lean over.
I think a little tow-haired boy in bib overalls is like, for me, with the spoon.
Free. Be sure. Don't spend it all in one place.
He runs off. Mama, look.
Is gonna stand up and look at Jasper. Jasper, I think it's time we go say hi to the skeletons, don't you think?
Yes. What? Oh, yes, of course. One moment. Fair Weft! Where are the skeletons?
And I think a group of townspeople, they all like converge together, and they weave in and out of each other like choreographed, and then they all come together in a line and point to the east.
Looks down at Pele. Shall we take the van, or do you want to go for a walk?
It's yon ranch house.
Yon
about a quarter
ranch
mile
house.
East.
About a quarter mile east. Pele, our fortune. Let us walk through this fair town. And can you help me get down from here? I'm actually terribly afraid of heights.
We'll just pick up and then set down. I always forget. I told Alex, I always forget that Pele is like near 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
Is near 7 feet tall. Big, corn-fed.
Massive, man.
Yeah.
And Jasper's just a little guy, so
He's a little guy.
I'm just a little guy. Fuck you, dude.
Shoulders slope downwards.
Holy, it has been 3 fucking months since you did that to me. For people watching the video at the Gauntlet Retreat in May, it became the recurring joke for Jason to.
I didn't even do it that much. I did it like twice.
You did it more than twice, my friend. Refer to me as the little guys.
Okay.
This is important detail. Does Jasper kick his feet a little bit when being picked up and then let down on the ground?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Fantastic. Let's go to the skeletons for a bit, and then we'll have our first break. The Skeleton Family Ranch. So it's just the two of you at this point, or are Theo? You probably have time to go with them and then join Ridley if you want. But
yeah, I definitely want to go to the skeletons.
Absolutely.
The Skeleton Family Ranch. Let's take a look here. Withered orchards hemmed in by towering forest, a collapsed barn, stagnant pond, various sheds overgrown with vines and full of junk. And then there's the house itself, which is a 2-story lodge of stone and timber. Paint the scene. The skeletons have clearly left their farm to rot, but somehow managed to survive on the land. What surprising elements of the property have they maintained with care?
I'm trying to think of a good one.
I have an idea.
Go for it.
I think since this place is sort of in the middle of like a forest, I think like the trees are starting to like encroach onto like the farm, and like there's this little white picket fence that surrounds like the property, and like I think the roots are starting to like uplift it, so it's like this very janky teeth like structure. But however, all the boards are still painted white, so like you can still clearly see where the border lies.
You stole mine.
There's a number of like rusted out. This is a staple, especially in the deep south, of rusted out cars that probably belong, or like vehicles of some kind, carts, that kind of thing, that were probably belong to the family or other families at one point that are broken down, but they've been turned into little flower beds. There's they've been made a little bit pretty.
It's not quite astroturf green, but honestly, the yard is almost uniformly cut and maintained. It's still got a bit of that like rustic kind of difference in how tall the grass is, but there aren't like dirt patches of barren earth. Like the grounds here are not just fertile and growing well, but impeccably maintained.
Out in the front yard, you see a man with a wild beard and even wilder eyes hauling some lumber or just some like wood and metal pieces, some junk. He has a torn flannel shirt that might have once been orange. And he must have very calloused hands because he's just grabbing great big pieces of hot aluminum and tin with his bare hands and hauling them and setting them down over here and there. Pele, what do you do?
What a splendorous morning, fair brother. Hope your brow is being kept cool and your neck not too burnt.
He looks up and says, "How do you know my name?"
Brother?
Brother.
Well, I'd say that's one of the great and many coincidences that happen below our feet and above our heads every day.
There ain't no such thing as coincidences. There's only the will of the gods.
Well, it seems their will has brought me and my associates directly to you today on this fine morning.
He says, You're from outside. Dangerous outside. Better. Safe in here."
Hell, many pretty flowers you have on the property.
Sister likes them well enough, so I try to do my best to maintain them.
Is there a chance that my associates and I could speak with you and sister?
Let's have the day move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you
I'm
fail to convince
afraid
him?
he's going to say, "Don't you speak to me and mine never again," and you going to tell me to get.
You get.
Get.
I love it. Roll with presence. Let's see how you do. Do you have any?
Okay.
Do you have any things that might impede? No. In fact,
No.
if nothing else, your condition might actually help. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. And roll.
Which I'll go ahead and utilize it. This is important, so I'll go ahead and utilize inspired.
Oh, you get to burn that
condition.
and take advantage.
Burn and take advantage. Yeah.
Go for it.
It's just sitting there. Might as well use it, Okie dokie. All right. That's 2 4s and a 5. So 4, 5, 9 plus 0 is 9.
Mm-hmm. Let me read the move here. The veiled move. I'll tell you how your actions would leave you vulnerable, and you can choose to back down or go through with it. He says, "Yeah, you can come in and you can talk, but you're going to have to help us around a little bit. We're a little short-handed as of late. We need somebody to feed baby." You'll be required to feed baby if you...
I can go ahead and take care of feeding baby. Jasper, Theo, would you like to go speak to brother and sister?
Yes.
I'd be delighted. Brother Skeleton, Sister Skeleton, I'd love to meet them.
Brother Skeleton says, "Come on inside then."
Do you have a cup of tea, perhaps? I find myself rather thirsty.
He gives you a sideways glance, a withering sideways glance, and he says, Black or green?
Ooh, black tea. Thank you very much.
And he points you inside. Inside, it is the very picture of rustic cabin domesticity. 2-story structure. You see a woman sitting in a rocking chair who must be Sister. She has deep, sad eyes. She looks kind of like a doll, an overdressed doll, a lace shawl poked with dried flowers and feathers, and she's humming a song to herself while she knits something. And she looks up and she says, "We haven't had visitors in so long. Come on in."
Thank you. Pleasure. You have such a lovely home.
"Oh, thank you so much." And brother says, "They're going to help out a little bit. This person right here says that they're willing to help feed baby." She's like, "Oh, good. That's wonderful." She's like,
Yes, my associate Pele is marvelous at feedings. One might say he is the foremost feeder.
he's like, I sure do appreciate the help. Well, I'm suffering from a terrible toothache as of late. Makes it difficult to chew the food."
It's one of the great and many benefits of taking shredded wheat into your diet. Just a little bit of milk, let it sit, and it gets plenty soggy, and you can just slurp it on down.
Oh, that's good, good. And she goes on to her knitting. You hear somebody holler from upstairs. "Brother, who is that down there?" Brother says, "We have visitors, cousin."
Is that cousin Skeleton? Just so I'm clear, that's cousin. Their name is cousin.
And brother looks at you and says, "Yeah, that's cousin."
Mm.
You haven't seen him yet. You've only heard him holler down. And from somewhere deep in the house, from further back, you hear a fast crawling sound going back and forth. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. And then, "Baby!" Let's take a 5-minute break. Okay. So they've invited you in with you didn't even have to really do a lot of pretext except just agree to feed baby. Sister says, "So will you be staying for dinner?"
Yes. You did mention that your tooth was hurting. May I take a look at it?
Oh,
Oh,
well, I suppose so. Are you a doctor or a?
I can help ease the burdens of others.
Oh, all right. I love it. Great use of your move. Let's review your move really quickly.
Mhm. Let it pass on to
Unto
me.
me. There's a lot here, so we'll just go to the NPC part. When you transfer a physical condition from a custodian to yourself or a physical ailment from a side character to yourself, note it as a condition on your sheet and then roll a vitality.
Mhm. All right.
What does it look like, though? Describe it.
I think it looks, I imagine it looks a little bit gross because like I have her open her mouth and like I'm putting my hands into like her mouth trying to feel for like the broken tooth where the rot may be, and I'll note it out in my sheet in a little bit just to figure out how to word that. But like I think like the tooth itself starts to like reform into a proper shining white tooth.
Nice. Roll with vitality.
Ooh, that is a 10.
On a 10 plus, you get to choose 2 from your list there. I'll read them out just for folks watching this and who are curious. You can gain an insight about the illness in the form of a clue. Tell the keeper what it is. You gain an insight about a nearby danger. I will describe it. You receive a gift if healing a side character. Ask another player what it is and add it to your altar. Or the ritual does not attract unwanted attention.
I will receive insight about the illness in the form of clue. And I think I want insight about a nearby danger. The keeper will describe it. I think the clue is like, as like the tooth is healing, suddenly it just another tooth pops up and pops like this tooth that was supposed to be healed out. But I think at like sort of the like edges and whatnot, that there is like feathers sticking out of it, like little tiny things.
Intriguing. Now, because you didn't choose the option that prevents you from getting unwanted attention, I'm going to take that as an invitation to invite unwanted attention. That's what a good PBTA gem at least does. Even though I don't consider this PBTA. As you're doing that, Sister is clearly like feeling better, right? She's like, oh, praise the mother. You are a gift from the mother. Oh, that tooth. Oh, I can feel it. I can feel it on my tongue. The enamel is shiny and slick and new. Oh, I could just run my tongue over it all day. Meanwhile, your own tooth is cracked and abscessing and filling with a pussy fluid that is dribbling down your gum. And you will all notice at this point, there is a man hanging upside down from a banister on the second story, hanging upside down, kind of like a monkey. This man he's wrapped in a series of robes and sheets. He has very sallow skin and big bullfrog eyes. And he says, that ain't the work of the mother. The mother is going to be displeased that someone else is taking care of her babies. You know it as well as I do, sister. The Dusk Mother has been nothing but good to us, and here you are letting this outsider in to treat you with the powers of their gods. Ain't right. Sister just says, you hush. Don't pay him any mind. And then she begins stroking your hand. You wouldn't do anything to upset Mother, would you?
No, of course not. I just take care of people. We have similar goals in mind.
Jasper, what are you doing in the meantime?
Jasper is just having a wonderful time sipping this black tea, very pleasantly enjoying it. But I think at some point he is going to, if it's possible to like wander around the house, like just like while sipping the tea, just like he's idly, yeah, he's just doing that. He's just wandering around, looking, like just seeing the place, sipping every so often. Do they have like framed photographs in their household or anything like that?
Yeah, maybe make a meddling move with probably composure, I would guess, or not composure, whatever it's called in this.
Okay.
Focus. Yeah, focus.
Yeah, I'm with that. Is my feeling of emptiness impacting this?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Let's see.
You're having tea.
I'm having tea. Exactly.
It's great tea. It's really good.
It's great. It's really great. Yeah, I will roll just flat with that.
While you're rolling, I'm currently reading 11/22/63, and great book so far. And
I've seen the show.
And early on, this is a spoiler for this 10-year-old book. Early on, he the character drinks root beer in the past, and he like describes how like much more delicious the root beer is, because it's like it doesn't have preservatives or something, like it's
Interesting.
more filling and more delicious. I think this
All
tea
natural
is like,
cane sugar.
yeah, I think this tea is like that. Like it just feels, it tastes more more delicious. And you just came from a place where they pride themselves on their tea.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just feels more it has a stronger flavor. The sugar tastes or the honey or whatever's in it, just like it has a sweetness that almost makes your teeth hurt. It's so sweet, but it's good.
Well, I love the description. Anyway, I rolled snake eyes.
Great. Fantastic. You got a miss. I don't think this move has any miss conditions.
Oh, and also I'm still owed a clue from my monologue from earlier.
Oh, you are indeed.
Yeah.
I have to give it to you?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'll be sure to do that.
Yep.
Just put it in brackets for now.
I did. But yes, my miss will go swimmingly, I'm sure.
Indeed it will. I think as you are looking around, drinking your tea, you hear that crawling. And perhaps against your better judgment, and I'm going to say indeed you do because I'm in control of the scene, you begin following this noise, this crawling noise down a hall on the bottom floor to the left. And you quite suddenly find yourself alone. Your two companions did not follow you, Jasper. And there's an open door at the end of the hall. And you hear at the end of the hall, in that room, baby, baby. How are you feeling, Jasper?
Unsettled.
Take that as a condition.
Happily.
What do you do?
He says coming from behind a door.
Well, the door's open. You just can't
Oh.
see. You just can't see. Maybe they're around the corner or something you can't see in.
Yeah, I think Jasper will like hesitantly peek his head in.
You see a grown man on his hands and knees, a nest of dirty blonde hair covering his face except for just a single blue eye, and a mouth filled with teeth, too many teeth, wearing a diaper. Baby. And he crawls toward you.
Oh. Hello, baby skeleton, I assume.
Baby.
Yes, I understand. I think someone's here.
He holds his
feed
arms
you.
up like he wants to be picked up.
Oh, no, uppies, no. There's someone here to feed you shortly, so just please be patient, baby skeleton.
Bite.
What?
Bite.
No.
Bite.
Not right now.
And he tries to bite you.
No, fuck. Fuck.
It's the veiled move. What do you think is going to happen if you don't keep it together in this scene?
I bet I'm gonna get fucking baby chompers clamped down on my hand.
Yeah. Roll at disadvantage because of unsettled.
Yep. Do I have an item? Let's see. Fuck it, I'll roll with disadvantage. Why not? This is fun. I haven't done that in a while. And this is plus what, sorry?
Focus.
Okay. Oh boy. 5.
Bite! And he just clamps down. And as he clamps down and bites into your forearm, his lips peel back They peel back a little too far, even, I would say. And you see just these 2 rows of teeth, too many teeth. And you can see the blood seeping up on your forearm. He's even torn into your puffy jacket a little bit. And he just won't relinquish the bite. And I assume you cry out or something.
Yeah, Jasper definitely screams.
Pele, you can hear the cry. What do you do?
Oh, seems like the baby needs some dinner.
Sister says, he's awfully hungry, always hungry.
Well, I've got plenty to give. And Pele is gonna do what I mentioned before, take the tracksuit jacket off, hang it up on a hook, and then just kind of stretch a little bit and just nod at Theo, and is going to walk back there.
Jasper, you're a number of bacteria are currently flowing into your blood, even though this is strictly out of character knowledge. And I'm going to give you a condition, infected arm.
You know what? I'm gonna roll with the failures today. Why not?
Well.
Because this makes some. Because I need a scene with Theo later anyway. Infected arm. This makes sense.
Pele, you get to down that hall to that room, which you can tell now from the gauzy light, or the light coming in through the gauzy curtain in the window is a sort of nursery of sorts. And what do you do? And he's biting down on on Jasper's arm.
Pele's gonna look over and say, "Baby."
You hear just a kind of sick, kind of like wet tearing noise as he relinquishes the bite off Jasper's arm. And you can see little bits of blood and flesh on his teeth. And he says, "Baby, hungry."
Yeah, Jasper like falls back against the wall, clutching at where the bite wound is. There's just like a lot of blood streaming down his arm. He is gritting his teeth in pain.
Gonna open up the briefcase and going to grab just like a handkerchief and hand it over to Theo and say, "Let me do my work, Theo." I'm going to pull out one of those boxes of cereal, the single-use boxes of cereal that are called they're called Cookie Bites.
I love it. Are you gonna try to like feed the cereal too, baby?
I think Pele's just going to like do the whole baby's hungry, baby needs food, have to be good though, baby. And like is like not afraid to get forceful with this giant man that is baby.
I love it. Let's do your move. One bite is never enough. That's funny. Roll with presence or vitality, your choice.
We're rolling with vitality.
Go for it.
Got it. I'm gonna use, just so I can get advantage here, I've got a little woolen worry doll that has a needle through its face. Okay. And I think in my other hand I'm holding it up like
to distract him, or
like
whatever,
like if you do, yeah, nice little distraction there.
Yeah, keep him focused.
Exactly. Oh, nice. That is a 5, a 6 plus 1. That is a 12.
Nice. On a 10 plus, they are charmed by you and will aid you in a single task, no questions asked. I mean, baby might be able to show you some things, who knows? But go ahead and describe the scene of feeding baby.
Going to like, as soon as like baby's kind of distracted with the doll, going to like I've slowly been opening up the box and baby comes over to like kind of grabs it. You're going to see, like, using vitality, you're going to see Pele grab the back of baby's neck and take these cookie bites and put them in like the baby's mouth and be like, eat.
Baby.
Good.
Baby.
You're not going to bite another one of my friends again, and you're going to apologize to Theo, aren't you? Or not Theo, you're going to apologize to Jasper, aren't you?
He looks over at Jasper with his one eye that's visible from his bangs, and he says, "Baby."
Do you accept the apology, Jasper?
Yes, I do. It's so simple to forgive in our modern day, is it not? Such an easy thing to do when the stakes are called
Yes.
for, that we can forgive the sins of our fellow. I'm gonna go to the kitchen.
Get
I'll be
that
right
taken
back.
care of.
Yes.
Good. Yeah, wash that off.
Theo, you will seek cousin monkeying down the stairs, hopping from furniture to furniture to table to that hallway. He's very intentionally not landing on the ground. He passes you, Jasper, in the hall. He's jumping from side table to armoire, down the hall, and you can kind of duck under him. And he goes right up to the doorway of the nursery, kind of just hanging there. And he says, "Feeding baby with a spoon. That ain't right. That's not right. We should feed, we should eat in the manner taught to us by our mother." Pele.
Gonna just slowly turn and look over and say, "Now, who is this?"
"I'm Cousin Skelton, and I disapprove of your technique, sir."
Hi, Cousin Skeleton. My name is Pele Kessel. How much better would it be? Could you perhaps show me how one might better feed baby?
Says, "All right. Let me see those. What are they? Cookie
Cookie bites.
bites." Yeah. And he puts some of the cookie bites in his mouth. He chews it. It's like, it's quite dry.
Always better to have milk with it, isn't it?
Takes some milk. And he creates a sweet, sugary, cereal-ish paste with his mouth. And then he spits it into the mouth of baby. Baby receives it. And he's like, "There. Just as mother taught us."
Mother's taught you a lot of things, hasn't she?
"Yes."
What things has Mother taught you that you could teach us?
Make the meddling move with presence. I will let you have the advantage you would get from baby, even though.
Yeah.
Even
I
though
think
it's his
I was gonna
cousin.
try
Yeah.
to see if I could,
Yeah,
kind of
that's
slip you
fine.
out.
Yeah.
I just worked so well with baby. That's a 10.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. I'll give you a clue here in a bit. Theo, what are you doing?
Think like all of this has happened quite rapidly, and I was watching cousin just maneuver very strangely. I was just like considering that, and then I see Jasper coming out holding his arm, just probably pretty upset about this, probably heading into the kitchen, and I'm heading there as well.
Mm.
What on
You-
earth happened there?
Baby skeleton got a little bitey.
Hmm. Those marks, they seem to be less of a, like, I take a look around to make sure none of the other skeletons are listening in too intensely. Less of a baby, but rather a grown person.
Yes, I fucking know. It's not a baby. It's a grown man in a diaper who likes to bite people. Theo. Yes, it's.
Mm.
We all play the parts we're given. Mm.
The question is, why did you get so close?
I didn't think he was going to bite me, Theo. Although he did precede it by saying bite many times, and then he rushed me. Quite spry for a crawling elderly man.
Elderly or
Older, grown, adult, not a baby. Point is, my arm is on fire and I feel quite woozy. I don't suppose he kind of like, lowers his voice a little bit. I don't suppose that, you helped out. You helped out Sedna.
Mhm.
Perhaps you could help out me. After all, this doesn't seem like the foremost greatest area for medical attention.
Sure. That's easy enough. But I would like to have you do something a little bit difficult for me first.
Oh, Theo, now's not the time for games. What do you want?
Say please.
What? Oh, yes. Theo, please, would you mind alleviating me of this awful bite wound and possibly infection?
There we go. And I shall like try to like sort of like as the sleeve is rolled up and I'm examining this wound, like, or think as like I'm touching the arm. I think it's gonna hurt more
Oh,
before
fun.
it gets better
Ah!
because I put my hand inside.
Ugh.
It got quite deep there.
Yes, and you're making it worse, Theo.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, there's more blood coming out, therefore I assume it's worse.
Well, I'm just checking because this is not just one set of teeth. This is two.
I take it back. I don't want your medical attention. Fuck.
And I will roll with vitality as I let it pass on to me again. Taking all the conditions.
I love that. Go ahead and roll.
This is just an 8 this time.
Choose one from the list.
I think this ritual will attract unwanted attention because, like, I think we're in the kitchen and like I'm trying to keep it quiet.
Sounds good. Okay, done and done.
Jasper puts like a dish rag in his mouth because he's clearly screaming. Yeah.
How can you tell, Theo? We assume as a pox monk, you have a finely tuned sense of your own physiology. How can you sense that you have an infection in you now?
Because when the wound opens up on my arm and as I was feeling around in it, the flesh felt hot, where for the rest of the body it did not. So it is infected. But thankfully it doesn't wear me down like it does others.
Pele, cousin Skelton says, you're the kind of man you're the kind of person who wants to know things, eh?
I like knowing things, cousin, and I also like sharing knowledge too. Like, wasn't that cookie bite delicious?
It was indeed quite tasty.
Amidst all those sugars and preservatives, though, do you know what's inside a cookie bite?
I confess I do not.
Wheat, grown from the ground, simple seed that grows into something more. And it's grown in rows, and then they're cut down, and then they're regrown year after year. And that's what I'm doing with you, cousin. So think of it as an exchange. I'm not just digging into things.
Baby.
Agreed, baby.
Follow me. And he takes you upstairs through the kitchen. You pass the other two while they're doing whatever they're doing. You pass brother and sister in the front room. He climbs up the banister like a monkey and you can follow him upstairs to a ladder, which goes up to the very small little attic space of the house, which is where Cousin's room is. Do you go all the way up?
Yeah. And like Pele does like passing by and like familiarity of like touching shoulders and stuff, almost like a deacon at church, you know, of like just being like, oh, good to see you. Yeah, everything like that.
Yeah.
It even does that with brother and sisters, like just like does a nod and everything. It's like babies being fed. Yeah. And then well, like heavy footsteps up and then gets the ladder and just goes.
I'm sure the ladder trembles when you get on it.
Yeah,
Right?
it starts, just a big person just climbing up a tiny ladder.
This attic space is the only place that Cousin doesn't mind walking around on. He feels comfortable up here. He says, I've seen many things with my eyes. I have heard many tales with my ears. I have felt many disturbing things with my hands. And I've collected all of my observations in this book. And he holds forth this book, which is a combination of journal, but also like an album with newspaper clippings. He says, I think you'll find that everything you want to know can be found in there. Whatever it is you're seeking, whatever it is you're trying to learn, there's an answer in that book. Like Mother, I like to collect things, bits and bobs. I like to feather my nest of knowledge, so to speak.
Tiny little things.
He presses the book into your hands.
Do you want me to keep this, or do you just want me to copy it down, Cousin?
You can look at it for a moment if you wish. If there's answers for you to be found in there, they will reveal themselves post haste. You do not need to take it with you. Such is the nature of holy books.
Thank you for this allowance. I'm going to pull out a spoon from a back pocket for your nest.
He takes it and he nods and puts it in his pocket.
Shine.
If you take some time to look through the book, this is your clue. You can add appropriate context whenever you want, but the clue is it's a scrapbook with notes and scrawlings and newspaper clippings with different stories, accounts of miracles related to modern industry, opinion pieces on sacrificial quotas, claims that a military recruitment angel is stealing children from rural schools. I'll copy and paste the text here, and then you can do what you want with it. Meanwhile, Jasper and Theo, it's getting to be dusk. Nighttime is coming. Sister comes into the kitchen to begin preparations for dinner. And she's singing a hymn to Mother, and how Mother provides, and how we shall all find shade under Mother's wing. What are the two of you doing?
I feel like once Jasper's wound is miraculously cleared, he does spend a fair amount of time just like kind of like staring at it, like touching at it, like kind of astonished because he's seen it used before, but like this is the first time it's happened to him, so he's like taking it in. But he kind of like looks up and has that Midwestern look of like, I'm trying to find the excuse to leave politely kind of air about him.
Theo, you're probably due with your hunter friend pretty soon.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What do you do?
It's unfortunate, but I do have to leave you, my companions. I have a meeting in the woods elsewhere. And I'm just gonna leave. Bye.
Yes, I will be heading out. I hope all of you have a lovely dinner. I have to accompany Theo on their travels.
Sister says, "You're not staying for dinner?"
Oh, I would love to. It smells simply divine in here, but I'm afraid I did make prior arrangements, and I'd hate to break a promise. Perhaps another night. I will be in town for quite some time. I'm sure you will see me again.
Sister looks,
Jasper is known for double booking, but I'll be joining you for dinner.
"Oh, wonderful." Sister says, "That's wonderful." And she goes back to preparing the meal. Brother is outside chopping some wood. Cousin is up in the attic ranting. Baby is hollering in the nursery. And the two of you are heading out to the Clutching Woods. Let's talk about the Clutching Woods. The sun's nearly down. The Clutching Woods are narrowing tunnels of sickly briars and fallen branches, buckling footbridges dragged down by strangling roots, patches of oil-slick bog skewered by sun-starved trees. Let's paint the scene. The land here is horribly polluted, but not truly dead. What menacing features make you most concerned for your safety?
There are kind of flooded muddy areas that contain dense patches of brambles that if one were to get snagged, not only would you be deep in muddy water, but you'd be thoroughly hooked and dragged and drowned by those brambles.
There's Spanish moss hanging from the trees densely. Very easy to find yourself slipping through. But what you don't know is that there are little bugs, little reed looking like stick bug type creatures that live within the Spanish moss that if you walk through the wrong little patch of it, they can just get tangled up in your hair and in your ears, and they have a proclivity to burrow in.
I think it's less of the coming from the nature, but rather from the people traveling here, the Theo and Jasper. I think Jasper would just hear Theo breathing heavily, but for some reason, there's something off about it. Like there's almost like between breaths, there is sort of a growling noise.
I believe I owe one of you some information about a danger.
Yeah.
Is that Theo?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Here's how I'm going to convey said information to you. The rot in Sister's tooth is fungal in nature. The infection or the infective agent in baby's teeth is fungal in nature. This fungal rot, this infection, is a god. And it is here in the Clutching Woods. In fact, it is communicating with you, Theo. I am going to give you your last condition spot.
Oh no.
Which is one with, oh wait, I gotta get the, oh, I just forgot the name as soon as I said that. One with writhes beneath the loam.
I can never escape this god, can I?
Type this for you. It's communicating with you. In fact, it wants you to lead Jasper to a particular patch of cordyceps in the woods. You can willingly do this, or you can try to resist.
Oh no, it's much more fun if I go along with this because I want to see what's out here.
Very good. So let's just have that
Oh, no.
scene.
I think like Theo starts to sort of almost rush ahead, Jasper. So you're like I think you're trying to call after him
Yeah.
and just trying to like see like where are you going? And I think at one point, like I think Theo gets like his jacket like caught on like a tree branch and like he leaves it behind, but you notice like the jacket sleeves starting to like be stained with like greens and browns. It's just very, very unusual. So
Yeah, Jasper's like taking these like big laborious like steps through the land. He has all the bearing of like one of those kind of like clumsy, klutzy kind of people who are trudging through the wilderness, and they want to be anywhere else. Like, he's like swatting at insects in the air, and he's just like, getting his foot out, and he takes a few like quick stumbles. He's like, up, Theo, goodness, slow down. I these shoes were not best intended for this sort of terrain navigation. Just, oh, hold on. There's so much dirt on me. Hold on, I'm coming. Try to get faster.
Jasper, while you're kind of fumbling around with your coat, I think this is where you find that clue that you owed.
Oh, fantastic.
Someone stuck it in your pocket in the middle of the choreographed number. And you'll find it now.
Oh.
And what you find is, let's see here. Oh. I like this. I don't know what it means, but I'm here for it. You find in your pocket a taxidermied squirrel, but the squirrel is wearing clothes. That's all.
Okay.
It's got little chinos and a flannel.
Jasper just like pulls out like and just blinks and just goes, "What? Why? Why? Okay, well, in the satchel you go, Sir Squirrel. I shall think of a name for you later."
Meanwhile, let's go to Pet Pele for a minute.
Mhm.
Pele, dinner is on the table. And sister says, brother, would you like to do the invocation? And brother says, I believe we should let our guest say some words. Cousin, who is sitting atop the table, but like squatting down on his end of the table, he says, you want our guest to speak words to their God? Their God, not the mother? And sister says, cousin, there's precedent for it. It's just blessing a meal. There are too many gods in this world not to occasionally make room for one more. Cousin just shakes his head in disappointment.
No, it's okay, cousin. I understand. You have a preference.
He's like, well, it just, mother's been so good to us, and I try to do my best to honor her whenever I can.
I understand. I do the same.
Baby!
Yes, baby. You see, Mother and the sweet jolly crunch tooth are not so different, you see. There are multiple processes that go into making sure that food is prepared and put on the table. Just like mother must do with her babies, she goes out and she finds the food, brings it back to
Baby.
you, and delivers it back to you. Sweet Jolly Crunch Tooth, there's work that goes into providing the food. There's processes. There's the benefit of taking the grains, the ingredients, and shredding them and bringing them down to their most basic components, and then putting them together, baking them, forming them into fun little shapes, sweetening them, and packaging them. And just like your mother, some other people's mothers have to go out and get them. Not all is brought to them, but some they have to go to the store to find them. Bring it back home, feed it to you. I think there's some understanding of coexistence between those that are different and not so different. The outside may be dangerous, but there are good things in the outside that can make the inside more safe. So thank you, Mother, for this bountiful harvest, and I hope that Sweet Jolly Crunch Tooth along the way brings more harvest to you and your babies.
Praise be, they all say, baby. And let's paint the scene. Dinner's surprisingly wholesome and good. These people, if nothing else, they understand the land and how to make use of it. And maybe the mother really does provide. What's on the menu?
There is a very delicious and steaming pot of like rabbit stew, but it's you got like little chunks of rabbit meat, little shreds of rabbit meat, but there's also vegetables in there as well. You got some root vegetables, carrots, potatoes, and then a little bit of, just a little bit of some beans, like green beans in there and everything. Just a nice little, and the broth is really good, nice and like thick and hearty.
I think that there is a very like a sort of a metal pan of cornbread. Pretty simple, but it's sweet. It's a staple, and I think Pele they would enjoy that the most.
There is, I know, there is a like porcelain pitcher filled almost to the brim with a steaming and pungent hot mulled cider.
Back in the clutching woods, Jasper, you find yourself alone. Well, Theo's nearby, but hasn't followed you to where you're at. And you feel something underneath the cuff of your trousers, something tickling your ankle.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll notice that there are a number of tall, skinny mushrooms all around you.
Ugh.
Where you're standing. And they're even sort of, maybe it's just a trick of the light, but it seems like they're actually stretching in place as if to reach you. And then you see in the fading sunlight, wafting down all over, a fine dusting of spores. Let's take a 5-minute break.
Oh boy.
Jasper, the spores are trying to get inside of your body. What do you do?
Oh man, I feel like it is going to be time to raise that anorak jacket high around my nose and mouth and like hastily try to get the fuck out of here.
This is the revelation move.
Of course it is.
If we take a look at the move text, it says, What are you afraid will happen if you fail?
That I'm going to inhale a big old whiff of these spores and they're gonna take root inside me.
It's worse than that. You'll be dead, and then whatever you're turned into pursues Pele.
Fun.
Go ahead and roll with this is almost certainly vitality.
Yeah.
Were you going to try to mark an item here?
I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to think of what arguments I could come up with for my items.
Oh, I guess your jacket is not one.
Yeah, my jacket's not one. That's just narratively there.
Yeah.
Shit. Nope. Can't think of anything, so I'll have to roll disadvantage.
Yeah, you are going to be at disadvantage. You're literally empty, waiting to be filled and
Oh,
unsettled.
hate that for me. Oh, that's 4.
4.
So, I do intend to write a verse, but I love hearing the narration as always.
Well, and also I'll tell you, you do have the mystery specific verse available right now too, so
True.
that's worth pointing out.
Very true.
It could be well timed here, I think. But let's talk about the alternatives. The spores enter your body, and I'm curious. I'd like to know how the Watcher in the Wings reacts to the idea of a god that can be anywhere and can propagate itself vastly.
Oh. That sounds like symbiosis waiting to happen for the Watcher.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it does a little bit, right?
Yeah.
In any case, Writhes Beneath the Loam is inside of you. You can hear it making contact. You can practically feel it short-circuiting parts of your brain and reconnecting other parts. Different parts of your consciousness and your awareness firing alive that were not there before. Your consciousness now becomes one that is determined to grow via consumption. Everything is here to be brought to rot so that you can keep growing more and more. You are just a small fungal god in a backwoods. In a remote place, but you could be so much more. The whole world could be your stage. But you first have to start spreading the good word. Theo, please describe how Jasper's physical attributes are changing to reflect his unity with Writhes Beneath the Loam.
I think parts of like this poofy jacket start to like expand as like mushrooms start to grow outside of it, and sort of like they sort of grow around like his head and sort of like almost like sort of like framing it in sort of a sphere, as though presenting him as sort of a sort of divine saint.
Oh, interesting.
So
Spore halo.
Spore halo, yeah.
Yeah, I like it. We flash forward to Pele and the skeletons wrapping up their meal. We're watching this scene from the window outside the kitchen. It's dark. We're peering into the window. Brother is pushed back from the table, slapping his stomach contentedly. Cousin is actually smiling and laughing. Pele, I assume dinner went well for you?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a great time. A little bit of small talk. Got to talk more about Sweet Jolly Crunch Tooth, and the processes and everything that goes into making sure that it works, and how that could benefit somebody like the mother as well.
Sisters regurgitating some pie into baby's mouth.
Delicious.
It's a lovely scene as we watch from the window. And then we move to the back door and we lie in wait. And that will be the last of the skeletons. Unless you write your verse. Do you want to write history, prophecy, or do you want to do the one that's specific to the Dusk Mother, which is the verse of the Dreaming Nest? Jasper?
Oh, I was going to say, sorry, the Dust Mother prompt is not in the Keeper.
Each custodian recalls a time they insulated themselves from the cruel uncertainties of the outside world and what gave them solace in the darkness.
Ooh, yeah, let's do that one.
Very good. I think we'll just end our session on that.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I'll give you all like 5 minutes to think about it because I need to go deal with the dog anyway.
Sure.
And then we'll come back, we'll narrate those, and then we'll go to end of session.
Awesome.
All right. See you in 5. The verse of the Dreaming Nest. Whoever wants to go first, take it away.
There was a time where there was a really bad storm in Pele's home, and big. When you get into those, the deeper into the peninsula, that flat part of the peninsula, twisters can happen, cyclones, and right before a big storm happened, Pele was being chased by a bunch of bullies. Ended up seeing a grain silo with the door open up at the top. Running, hiding inside this grain silo, Pele kind of buried deep in the top of this grain silo, hearing the boys yelling at them, trying to figure out where they went, till eventually they gave off, and you could hear the klaxon alarms, the going off in the distance as a twister was coming. For the next few hours, Pele sat in silence in that grain silo, hearing the world outside of it being ripped apart, things flying past, rain pelting these tin walls and this roof. And every time the silo would shudder or start to move with the wind and everything, Pele would bury themselves deep further into that grain, just emulsifying themselves into it until finally there was nothing but just the grain around Pele. And it felt comfortable. It felt like being back in the womb almost. It was satisfying. And the storm passed. Pele crawled their way. It's hard. It's almost like quicksand. But intense strength dug themselves out, climbed back down, and saw all around there had been grain ripped up, different harvesting equipment thrown about. That silo stood sentinel solitary amidst all the destruction.
Fantastic. Thank you.
I think for most people, it's not exactly insulating themselves from cruel uncertainty. to take on someone else's pain, to take on someone else's burden. Hawks monks can distance themselves from pain, the burden, the struggles they have with taking on other people's illnesses, their diseases, and whatnot. But that's not considered the proper way to do it. The proper way is to take it all, to experience it all for themselves. I think we see the scene of Theo being held down in this sort of makeshift hospital bed, sort of something you would see from like the 1940s, sort of military-esque. Next to him is like this young woman who is in labor, trying to bring forth a new life in the world, and she couldn't afford the proper places, so she came out here in the middle of nowhere just to have a chance at bringing new life into this world. But Theo agreed to this because this pain is easy compared to the pain of his proper family. The pain of knowing they won't talk to him. They won't understand why he wants to go through this, why he wants to show devotion in this way. But it's honestly worth it in the end. The baby is brought forth in this world, and he can hear its cries. And that is just wonderful.
Thank you.
To be an orphan, an urchin on the streets of Glottage is, one might say, an arduous ordeal. And that is indeed my youth, much of it, that I wish to explain as it is. We're on those back alleys, streets, and dismal, dingy corners that so few people truly pay attention to in their daily lives, walking about. Many nooks and crannies for an urchin to find themselves in. And such cruelties these urchins are shown by the larger population, regardless of their age, and some might even say that the younger the urchin, the harsher the treatment. I received a fair number of beatings in my youth, from fellow children, passers-by, business owners, you name it. I was probably at one point subjected. It reminds me of a tale I once read, but that is for another time. Cardboard is a miraculously useful tool. It is both a shelter and a vessel for imagination. A simple box, for example, can be unfolded, bent, shaped, retaped together to form a helmet like cavalry soldiers of old wars. A dowel could be a sword, and indeed a crate could be a steed. I've always had an active imagination, and in those days it was most useful to have one, to delude oneself from the horrors of the daily life, to see with shrouded, veiled eyes a much more peaceful, prosperous, and simpler existence. I spent a lot of time pretending, where I could. I even once convinced myself that cardboard and wood chips were a king's feast. That subsided me well enough for a time, until it didn't. But through it all, the harsh ordeals, the weather, the people, the small gods that tend to wander and crawl into your place of lodging when you do not wish them there. Every book I could find, every play, every poem, anything with dialogue, was fuel for that deluded place of safety. I could take the text of a page and read it as if it were gospel truth to continue to live in my fantasy world. Only when I'd grown past my childhood and entered my young adult years and found prosperity doing what I enjoyed most, I could use those pages, those texts, those words as a shield. But unlike the cardboard, it was not just there for the purpose of protecting myself. There was substance in it. There was light. A purpose that shone on me before I even knew it.
Fantastic. Let's go to our end of session, which for us today is just going to be to answer the end of session questions. Theo, did you engage with a god, angel, or other divine manifestation? Yes, you did. Did you go out of your way to connect with the local community? Yes, you did. Did you deliver a monologue about any of the following? The nature of gods, the futility of individual choices in the face of indifferent powers, the horrors that society accepts as good and necessary.
Not all of monologuing.
No, I don't think so. Jasper Finch, did you engage with a god, angel, or other divine manifestation? Yes, you did. Did you go out of your way to connect with the local community? I would say so. Did you deliver a monologue about any of said things?
I delivered many monologues. I'm not sure if I delivered them about those things.
One of these specific things. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, not quite. Let's go to Pele. Did you engage with a god, angel, or other divine manifestation, Pele?
I don't think so. I think the
think you did.
closest was just somebody that was worshiping Mother through the eating, but that was not the Mother herself, so no.
Yeah. Did you struggle with your personal faith? Probably.
No.
Well, you literally did when you're in flashback when you're crawling out of.
That's true. Yeah,
the grave.
in flashback form. Yes,
Literally, yeah. So you can have that one. Did you undermine the orders of your superiors or use the assignment to pursue personal interests?
I did use the assignment to pursue personal interest by planting in seeds of. I tried to word it in a way that it was like, yes, Sweet Jolly Crunch Tooth is there,
with cousin,
but the grain is the important part. That is the important part of the
I'll
process.
Take it. Yeah, it was
everything.
subtle.
Yeah.
I looking back on it though, I get it now. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Fabulous. End of session questions are done. I don't think we have any moves that fire off at the end of the session, and so we'll go to stars and wishes. I'll start today. I had a great time today. The characterization stuff that the three of you were doing was just really incredible. The verse that we all just did was wonderful. Everybody had such great contributions, and I learned so much about these characters. I particularly really enjoyed what yours, Jasper, because it kind of we have this one view of Jasper up to this point, which is kind of a shallow view of Jasper, right? But then we get this like kind of with that last verse, we sort of really deepened our understanding of Jasper and saw this different side of him, which was really, really quite effective and cool. But it was true of all the characters, though. That verse was really terrific for all three of you. Just really, really good stuff. Great character development. Love the skeletons. It's fun to roleplay the skeletons, and it's fun to see the custodians interacting with the skeletons, or the skeletons at least as I present them. And so that was really, really cool. Weft, as a general matter, I really kind of like Weft. It's the kind of setting I have a lot of fun with. Star for that move, the all the world's a stage move. That's a super fun move, really, really cool. The Poxmonk move got a lot of mileage today as well. So the Sweet Jolly Crunch Tooth move, everybody was like really hitting their moves and stuff too. So yeah, just great gameplay, great characterizations, awesome interactions with the side characters, really good time. For Wish, I don't know. Obviously I'm curious what Sedna was up to during all this, and I'll be curious to see if you spread out to all three assignments next time, and because you still have not resolved one, and so it'll be curious to see. I'll be curious to see if you take action against the hungering roots or get started on the floating market or what have you. So just really excited to see more of this world and hear more of these tales.
Yeah. I want to throw out a star to Chaotic for just diving into that move. The fucking getting like that is one of my favorite types of like the Poxmarter, like playing that is one of my favorite types of way to play, and just in any tabletop game, which is taking on the burdens of others onto yourself and utilizing that in a way to like be able to like be mechanically useful. And you're in it, you're in the pocket, you're doing it. You're doing a great job with it without hesitation too, because I know a lot of other players, a lot of lesser players would be so hesitant to just be like, well, my conditions are stacking up now and I don't, like, but you're like, nah, put them. Yeah, you got a bad tooth, let me see it. You got a weird bite on your arm, let me take it. Like you're really diving in, which in turn you're utilizing that to dive into your character more. And so the mechanics are washing the back of the narrative, and the narrative character is washing the back of the mechanics, and it's just working together, and I'm getting a lot of metaphor tied together. But yeah, no, it's a great job. Fuck you, Jasper Finch, in particularly, and fuck you, Alex. E.B. Farnham is maybe surprisingly my favorite character from Deadwood. I think E.B. Farnham is
so great. So great.
Because a lot of people will be like, oh no, like Timothy Oliphant, or like, of course you'll get like,
or Calamity Jane, or whatever.
Calamity Jane, Al Swearingen, like, but I think E.B. Farnham is like the dark horse, the wild card option, because of exactly what you picked. One of my favorite things about E.B. Farnham, which is E.B. Farnham is a Weasley little motherfucker, but thinks that he is more elegant than everybody else in the fucking room. It does not matter what is happening. It does not matter the power dynamics.
Well, and E.B. Farnham was always in a different TV show. I think that's what I love about E.B. Farnham, right?
Yeah.
He's in some other show, which is really great.
He's in the Gilded Age while everybody else is doing Deadwood and everything, which is it's wild. But like, and you're hitting that, doing an aside. And like Jasper, but you're getting shades of E.B. Farnham like that, and like other great characters that I like, but it's your own character, and it's really cool to see. And then Jason, the scene setting is fantastic. How you're playing the characters is fantastic. I think we've talked about it before, because there are like different game masters that, oh, do you do the voices and everything? And you've said before, you're like, I don't do the voices, like I do like tone and everything. Like you find other ways to emulate these different characters, so that like a lesser keeper or game master would just have the skeletons be cookie cutter redneck family, and they're all just the same with different names. But like you're working with the text really well to like make each brother's distinctly different from cousin, and cousin is different from sister, and baby is baby. And it's super creepy. I'm from the South, and I hate caricatures of the South, except for when you give me creepy rednecks. I love creepy rednecks. I've heard people being like, hills have eyes is offensive and everything like that, and I'm like, yeah, but it's also creepy as fuck.
I mean, my thing is like so one half of my family like are these people, right? And
yes.
like there's a way you kind of like present the caricature or the trope in a way that like is like there's a way you can present it to where like it comes from a place of like understanding and like and there's something sort of affectionate about it, right? And then there's a way you can do it where like it feels mean-spirited. And I think like whenever I play characters like this, I try to at least make it not seem mean-spirited, like let's make the horror fun. I think that's the difference, right? Yeah.
That's one of the big things, and like, because it's one of those things where it's like, me being from like West Virginia and also living in the South a bunch, when you like talk to people like that, they're like, oh yeah, I would never want to be offensive towards like people like that. And it's like no, you do it from a place of respect and understanding. Like you said, don't punch down, but like these people are fucking weird. They're weird people, and people that live like this are weird fucking people. So like, there's a way that you can do that without it just feeling mean. But no, like you did a fantastic job with that. It's great. So yeah, and my wish. I think that we're at a point where we can start answering some questions. Like,
Yeah.
I think there are two distinct questions that we can answer and like kind of knock out and get a good like base layer of like getting into. I know we could answer the first one, the hungering roots, but I think we could go back and get a couple more clues and get that second one. But of course, the mark of quickening. That's a nice little question. But we can definitely knock out that Dusk Mother first question and then get out of there. I love two complexity questions because you're like, yeah, let's go ahead and knock that out of the way, and then we can come back to this later.
It's really interesting. I was thinking about it on the break. It's really interesting from like a pacing standpoint because I don't think I've ever written a mystery where there's like a threshold question of just 2 complexity, right? I usually do 4 and 4. And
Yeah.
But I kind of like the 2 and 6 because it's sort of like the 2 complexity is like just enough information and just enough resolution to sort of point the group in a certain direction, like for the group to say we're going to be pointed in this direction, and then you kind of get to the mystery proper. So it's intriguing from that standpoint. But yeah, so I'm kind of having fun with that. Like
Absolutely.
that structure. It's kind of cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. Having a great time. Loving it.
Yeah, big stars all around. A lot of echo what was already said, but in particular, I really enjoyed Pele's interactions with the skeletons. I just in general kind of liked how he was engaging with Baby. That was a very creepy scene. Baby was terrifying, and I actually am very happy because I didn't get to see a lot of the skeletons when I played this before. So actually getting to see like interact with them more in a very different way has been very cool. Yeah, I star to chaotic. I really loved your description of how Theo healed Jasper by just digging those fingers into the wound. That was very gruesome and grisly, but also just like the scene afterwards in the forest where you're just like, fuck around, find out. I'm like, I kind of love the fact that you're kind of like trying to see if you can get Jasper killed.
Yeah, star for that too. I was really like, I would have been into it if you tried to resist, because that would have been the revelation move and that would have been fun. But it was just as fun to be like, no, let's just see what happens.
Yeah,
let's just do it.
I love that.
It's more or less of like, it didn't feel like the proper moment because like one of my things is like to clear the conditions, like because I'm at 5 conditions, I have to like literally kind of put myself into danger.
You have to do a lot to clear them. Yeah,
I have to like be like, because I don't feel like you're in danger yet, at least in terms of me clearing a condition. So like I have to like bring you down a little bit further.
Yeah, no, I love it. And also huge star to West for milk boarding. Really enjoyed.
Oh yes, that was a
narration.
great scene. It was really
It was
fun.
great scene, fantastic. Yeah,
I've been thinking about that since the very beginning of what does it look like when a corporation comes into a harvest community that's based around cereal. How do they? And it's like, oh yeah, there's an uprising. Of course, there's an uprising. There's all these farmers attacking, and they quell it. And how do we quell it? Let's get all your strongest guys and let's get them on the boards and let's start milk boarding them, huh?
That scene really captured the satire of Silt verses too, right? Like it was like there's that satirical element of the Silt verses that really comes through with the way you're playing Sweet Jolly Crunch Tooth, a follower of Sweet Jolly Crunch Tooth, which you know the show never entertained, like, but it's cool that like we're in that. I think we're still like in it in terms of like I could see this being on the show, you know.
Call me.
Yeah. Yeah. I just love that world building also as well. That was really just solid. It really inspires, like the Silt versus game in general. It's like a star for the system and this group. It's just like it feels so like different from any other like CFB game that's currently out there. Also just like there's something about just like the just playing in the world itself and the tone that is, I think, you know, obviously it helps that we're a great group, but also just strengthened by the system itself and the module and all the things that are happening. So yeah, that's great. Wishes. I took the move, my favorite move for Jasper now, so I can't wait to start busting that out on an annoyingly regular basis. This is why I keep a list of names at all times for Jasper, so I'm excited to see that going forward. But yeah, I'm just happy to. I'm looking forward to having Amanda back because I need some more Sedna.
Fantastic. Any other stars or wishes?
I gotta give a star for just getting to get Jasper to say please and just like be polite about like some things. As well as like just that really brief interaction between Pele and Jasper in regards to baby of like, oh yeah, like why'd you do that? And then immediately follow up with Theo of like, why'd you do that? Like how did you get bit by like a human being? Like
I really love the accepting baby's apology moment. I thought that was really great.
Yeah.
Baby, do you accept? Yeah. It's so good. And you played that so well, Alex.
Just a general like I really enjoyed not engaging with like all the world's a stage because like I saw where you're going with it and I was like, oh yeah, Theo would not be pleased like everybody.
We are ratcheting that move down, by the way.
Yeah, like
that move is getting a nerf big time. It is too powerful.
Yeah, it was like I was like, oh no, like all the tension of this town is now on us. Like Theo is just like, oh no, I don't want that. I want to be just like this little guy who's just like helps people out.
That was not me. I should throw that out there. Not me.
Still gonna squint at you because you were thinking about it.
Any other stars or wishes?
Wish. I'm very excited to see the marketplace threads because that's a fun one.
Yeah, it's a fun assignment.
Yeah, as well as that particular verse related to that thread. That's also really.
I love that assignment because it's the perfect assignment to do right now for like a third assignment. It would be a terrible like first assignment. Like no one should ever play floating market first. But like it's a great like middle of the like later assignment or one that's like your third of three or whatever because it's kind of it's a sort of assignment that's. In a lot of ways, it's like an assignment you do to like almost in some sense to almost like supply the group. It's like a supply run assignment in a way because you get like all kinds of like little advantages and things when you do it. So I think it'll be kind of cool to slip it in there. Sorry, I cut you off, Chaotic.
And oh man, I'm looking forward to figuring out how to clear my conditions because like
I was looking at it's really hard. I was like, wow, like it is like you can take a bunch of conditions, but they're not easy to get rid of.
I was like, oh man, like I because like in terms of like my verses, like I can only spend the verses of prophecies like to get rid of like to when I accrue even additional conditions. So it's even like more restrictive than.
Yeah, you're really like, and it's interesting. Yeah, because it's a powerful move, but boy, it comes with a trade-off.
Yeah, so I'm in danger.
Yeah. Indeed. Well, if there's nothing else, that was really a terrific session. Thank you all so much. I'll look forward to having Amanda back next week. In the meantime, let's go ahead and wave goodbye to folks watching the video.